You watching Nurse Richard, the wax wizard? His good, but I'd rather have a Krabby Patty.
Thank you very much for that, SpongeBob. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard, the Wax Wizard. Thank you for joining me. Interesting episode, this one. 2 infected ears and 2 perforations. One huge one. No, it was, and after this, or during the course of this video, there's been lots of people asking me for updates on how the family's doing, how my daughter's doing. I have got an update for you. I will fill you in on that a little later on, because there's been lots of people asking, and so I'll let you know what the latest is shortly. But first of all, I'll just tell you about this ear, or these ears, because there's 2 of them. Now, this was a lady who came to see me. Just look at this thick skin on this one. I really didn't expect it to be as difficult as it was. This one, when I first saw it, I just thought it's just a bit of soft stuff here and it will come away fairly easily, but oh my word, it didn't. She has a long history, this lady. It's an elderly-ish lady. I think she's maybe in her 80s. Family brought her along, and she's got known perforations. We think that they were from middle ear infections as a child, and they caused these perforations. So she lived with them for quite a long time. Now, it wasn't as a result of this that this, you can see, removed, that she's had the perforations. She already had those, which makes it a bit more complicated when it comes to treating it, because she'd already seen her doctor about this, and fabulously, they don't always, but her doctor also did a swab of this, which identified a fungal infection, which wasn't too clear from looking at it. It's not to say that there isn't. If that's what the swab showed, that's what the swab showed. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of bacterial involvement as well, but she's been on treatment for it, some antifungal drops as well, and that's kind of made this a bit mushy as well. But it's a lot of thick discharge and thick layers of dead skin that you quite commonly find in infections like this. And you can already see in the distance, can't you? You can see the perforation to the right-hand side of this eardrum. The other one was a lot bigger. It was pretty much the whole thing. The entire eardrum was missing. Now, whether that makes it more complicated to treat, possibly, because obviously any medication that you give this lady, you want to make sure that it's safe to use in perforations, as not all are. Some medication you don't want going into the middle ear space. There's obviously a very clear path through, but the doctor obviously is aware, and they've prescribed some antifungal medication for it. You're not going to see a spotless ear. The other one was fairly clean afterwards, but it's really difficult to peel away this stuff, because as you can see there, I've moved down to the fine-end tube here. It's like that chewing gum consistency. It's really difficult to peel away, especially in these hidden areas here, which are like to the roof of the ear canal. It's really difficult to gain access to this, because what you can't see behind here is, well, you might just see it coming into shot every now and then, the soft part of the ear just as you're entering it, and you have to get in that, nudge it out the way, and then insert the tube. And not always easy to get in, so it's kind of in and then up. You're trying to get in there. These tools, they're all straight. Now, I know you can bend them. I'm not a fan of doing that. Not what they were designed for. But already I'm pretty happy with this. But again, it's just to the top right that we're going to start struggling with again. You can just see the stringy skin just stretching away. Very difficult stuff to do. But I know a lot of people like it when you're doing these thick dead skin removals. I find it quite satisfying, as do I. I don't particularly enjoy doing them because they're very difficult, especially in an ear like this, that you obviously have to be really careful with because of the perforations. I mean, you have to be careful with every ear, but especially when you've got 2 holes in them. There's especially the other one, you won't see many perforations like you see in the second ear because it's absolutely enormous. Like I said, it's hard to figure out what's what because there's just nothing there. Absolutely nothing there at all. Right, so I'll give you a quick update on what's going on with the family. I know a lot of you know that I share quite a bit about my life because it's good to get to know the person behind the procedure, so to speak. And I find it helps me as well to talk about these things as well, even if they are often a little difficult to talk about. I know I'll talk about a lot of daft and silly stuff, and I enjoy that too, but often there's a few things that are a bit difficult that it's just sometimes just good to get off your chest. So a few episodes ago, I shared with you, I've got some photos at the end as well of a day we had recently, yesterday in fact, that I think you're going to enjoy. I shared in a video a few weeks ago that my daughter unfortunately had a couple of collapses. She's 10, and one at school and one at a gymnastics competition. She's a very keen gymnast, and they found that they thought that she might have two quite strange heart conditions, syndromes. And she had a procedure, she had an operation, and the plan was to go in there, stimulate the heart going through the groin, and to see how it reacts under stress. And by going in there, they could also formally diagnose one or both of these conditions. So they formally diagnosed one of them, which was Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which is, the consultant describes it as more annoying than it is dangerous. It can cause faints, passing out, dizzy spells, heart racing. It's quite rare, but I know people in few of the comments have said, yeah, we have that too, and everything's okay. It's manageable. And there's too much electricity being generated in the heart with that syndrome. They describe them as wires. You have like these wires that conduct electricity around your heart. It has an extra electrical pathway that the body doesn't need. The heart doesn't need, so often it kind of short circuits a little bit. But again, that one's not usually too serious. But what they can do is zap. I don't know how they do it, but they call it ablation, where they can destroy. So I think they do it by freezing it actually. They can destroy that extra electrical pathway. Now, they couldn't do that, unfortunately, when they were in there because they found that it was sitting right on top, not like it to be awkward or unique. It was sitting right on top of a healthy electrical pathway. So if they did that, then there's a risk of damaging a healthy electrical pathway, which can lead to you needing a pacemaker. And obviously that's not ideal for a 10-year-old, so they decided not to do that. And what they were also looking for was something called long QT syndrome, which is by far the more dangerous of the two. He couldn't confirm that she had that when he was doing the operation last time. So what they did, they sent us home to recover from that. When she'd recovered from that, they were going to do a treadmill test. And what that does, that basically sees how the heart reacts when it's put under a lot of stress, i.e. running on a treadmill and uphill as well. She did very well on that. She's extremely fit, and possibly because she is extremely fit, she was able to push herself really, really hard. Yes. And when they did, when they finished the test and they monitored the heart to see how it's reacting, they're looking for this long QT thing, and that's how the heart depolarizes. And he described it like it depolarizes, like most people should just depolarize like that. The electricity just calm itself down. When long QT, it kind of comes down higgledy-piggledy, and that's by far the more dangerous of the two conditions. And unfortunately, they did find that she did have that quite conclusively during that test, which leads us to the problem is to how to treat it, because unfortunately, treating the long QT syndrome usually straightforward-ish. They need beta blockers. Rare instances, if they think the risk is high, they can have an ICD, which is an implantable defibrillator, basically. A lot of you might well know the story of the Danish footballer, plays for Manchester United, Christian Eriksen. He has long QT syndrome. Obviously, he had a collapse at a tournament. Thankfully, they brought him round, and he plays with an implanted defibrillator in his chest. So should the heart stop for any reason, which long QT syndrome can cause, then it jolts it back, it starts it again. Anyway, but unfortunately, having the it's always a last resort. That they've not suggested that yet. It might be an option further down the line. But to treat this long QT, the more dangerous of the two, the treatment for it actually makes the other condition, the Wolff Parkinson White syndrome, actually makes it worse. It makes the risks of that causing problems worse. So it's a bit of a puzzle for them, to be honest. Now, I'm no cardiology expert, far from it. I've learnt a bit since all this, obviously. But they're in a bit of a puzzle. The long and short of it is they don't really know what to do at the moment for the best. They're having to weigh up what's the safest option. Is the safest option to do nothing? Or is the safest option to give a medication that helps to manage the more dangerous condition but risks the less serious condition? They really don't know at the moment. And the other option is to do another operation, and although it's a bit risky to try and zap this extra pathway that helps with the Wolff Parkinson White syndrome, so they can then safely give the beta blockers to help the more dangerous condition. What they're going to do, I don't know yet. We're in that limbo at the moment, unfortunately. I suspect that is what they probably will do, because they need to obviously manage the more dangerous condition and get the medication in place for that. So they did suggest they may, in the new year, which won't be far from when this video is released. It's the 9th of December now when I'm recording this. It's coming out, I think, in between Christmas and New Year. So I suspect that in the new year they might well call us back in, do another procedure, but he said he's going to get more specialists, so like a team of specialists in, and then try and zap this extra electrical pathway, even though it's sitting near a good one. Try and do that with a bigger team of specialists, and then if they can manage that, then they know it's safe to give the medication to treat the more dangerous syndrome, the long QT syndrome. And it's kind of complicated that, but it's took us a while to get our heads around it, as you can imagine. So in the moment, we just don't know is long and short of what's going on and what the future holds. Try not to think about it too much, to be honest. But as for how she is, she's absolutely fine. She's just a bit frustrated that she still has to wait until they know what they're doing, until she can do any form of exercise or put any kind of stress or strain on herself at all. So, she's just frustrated that she can't go on a trampoline. She can't do PE at school, can't run around in the playground, and obviously can't do gymnastics. They have actually suggested she can become they have these youth leaders at the gymnastics, so she can work with the younger ages, doing a bit of coaching. So we're finding things to do. Anyway, thank you again for all your kind messages. I do appreciate it. And I've got some pictures to show you at the end. The day out we had yesterday, you can see the size of this, can't you? Absolutely ginormous perforation. The whole eardrum just gone. It's just not there anymore. So as part of a day out, yesterday we went to the Manchester Museum of Illusions. Fabulous place. See if you can work out how that's done. They're all mind benders, these. There you go. Serve me up on a platter. There's us on a bus or subway. I think it's a bus actually, upside down. See if you can figure out how you think these are done. Leave me a comment down below. But we had a great time in this. What I didn't have a great time with is going in this thing here, which basically that's static, that walkway there. And then obviously there's screens around you that's spinning around. It's impossible to walk across this without feeling like you're leaning over to the side. I'll be honest, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was horrific. But I do have a shocking sense of balance as well. I can't go on waltzers. I can't go on anything that spins you around. It makes me feel nauseous for hours and hours and hours. So there's a mirror at the end of that. So I couldn't wait to get into that. It was absolutely horrid. I absolutely hated it. But the kids kept walking up and down it and just kept falling over to the left. It was horrific. But we had fun. And I suppose if that's anything that we can take from this, that everything I told you before, hopefully there is still a plan, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it, manage things the best we can with the least risk. Obviously, it's difficult. I don't need you guys to tell me that. And I know a lot of other people are going through difficult things that a lot of you have shared with me, and I do appreciate that. And the moral is, it's good to talk. Let things off your chest. If you're not okay, then tell someone you're not okay. Talk about it. And most importantly, hold your loved ones tight and cherish every day, because every day is a blessing. And that's kind of how we're doing things at the moment. But I will continue to keep you posted. There will be more happening, hopefully, in the new year. And but until then, I'm going to carry on doing these videos because I have time. You know, I have time in between patients at work. And it's just good to, you know, you have to, when you're going through something like this, you just have to carry on as best you can and as normal as you can. And I find it helps me to just carry on as normal when I'm here, when I'm at work. But hope you found that the procedure interesting anyway. And like I said, I will keep you posted on what's going on. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-da.